John, well, just before services, was getting his songs. I was putting my slides on the PowerPoint, and John Kapober said, if you want me to take out a song or something so you can have some more time, I'd be happy to do that. And I very much appreciate that. John took out a verse or two of one song, took out a whole song that would be right here, and he said, I think it's very important. I think it's important for the congregation to hear about the mission work. And I was like, that's it right there, and that's everything I wanted to say right there. And that sums it up. I mean, that is such a good thing to hear. Acts chapter 16, verses 9 and 10. We read, "And a vision appeared to Paul in the night. A man of Macedonia was standing there, urging him and saying, 'Come over to Macedonia and help us.' And when Paul had seen the vision, immediately we sought to go on into Macedonia, concluding that God had called us to preach the gospel to them." That is, we refer to that as the Macedonian call. That was when Paul and his entourage decided it's time to go, that God is sending us somewhere else to go preach the gospel. And they were called to do that. We are blessed in this congregation to be working with now three people, a couple of guys who originally 18 years ago felt called, in a different way of course, but in a way felt called to go work in Guatemala City. Hawatha Jones and Byron Benitez are very familiar with this congregation. In some ways a little more familiar than we'd like to be. No, I'm just kidding. I just hope they're watching. I told them to watch this live stream. So I owe them so many. Anyway, but we're so blessed to be working with those guys. Now then, with Snejana coming on board as Mrs. Benitez, that's still weird for me to grasp. But they are such a great team. And when I think about this idea of them being called to that work, then I then think the next step was the eldership at this congregation feeling called to support that work, to be a part of the work there. And in a way that I believe it was 2006 or 7 that Shelby and Mary and Richard and Lori decided, let's just go down there and visit and see what the work looks like down there. And Chaim Byron proposed the idea of sending a team down. And I was blessed to be asked to be a part of that initial team in 2008. And except for 2010, we've gone every other year since then. In Mark chapter 1, verse 38, Jesus says, telling his apostles, he said, "Let us go on to the next towns that I may preach there also, for that is why I came." Think of the work that happened, that we initially began to support there at Linda Vista in Guatemala City, in Villanueva in Guatemala City. They felt called not only to be content with the work that they were doing there, a good work that they're doing there, but they felt called to then begin their school of preaching, and then to connect with a man who was from the area of Coban in northern Guatemala, who he wanted to start a church in his hometown. And from the work at Linda Vista that we've been a part of for several years, there is now a preaching school where there are 13, I believe, young preachers in Central America trained at ITL. There are 4 congregations in northern Guatemala that didn't used to be, that weren't there 10 years ago, that are now functioning congregations because of the work that we have been a part of at Linda Vista and at ITL. And I say that to say that it is so important, the decision that our eldership is part of, to not just send a check, Linda Vista and to their work, ITL, but for us to go and actually be a part of it. I think I do this every year, but I want to ask you, if you've been on this trip, please stand up. If you've been once or twice, stand up, please. I know we're missing some. I just figuring up as I was driving here, I think that we have sent, you can have a seat. You guys who just went, stay standing up though, please. I think that we have sent 44 people on this trip. Our average Sunday morning attendance is, what, 330, 340, something. Over 10% of our base attendance congregation, over 10% has been on this trip. That's astounding. I mean, this is one of those things. Okay, you guys can sit down. That's one of those things that I think sometimes we don't think about. I don't know. For those of you who have been in this congregation a while, that's not normal. It is not normal for a congregation to send 10% of their average attendance to a mission field. That is outstanding. I mean, you talk with Hy and Byron about it. It's unbelievable to them, the number of people that we've sent, including the people that have gone with us on these trips. We're over 60 people that this congregation has sent. Now, there's been some repeats. There's been, me and Linda have been each time. Michelle's been twice. April Hornsby has been twice. Jeremy went twice. I think that's all the repeats. Oh, Caitlin, my daughter, has been twice. I'll hear about that one later. But that's a lot of people. That is a great deal of involvement in what is an incredible work to be involved in. Again, like I mentioned this morning, I just want to thank you as a congregation, as an elder. Thank you as an eldership, but as a congregation, just for your continued support of this. I know Hiawatha and Byron and Snejana look forward to coming here. They're all three planning on coming to give the report in November, December, or January. That is so Guatemalan of them. Yeah, we'll be there in November, December, or January. But again, thank you all for your support of it. The number of you who, before we go on these trips, ask, what can we do to help? The number of you who, when we come back, will ask detailed questions. That is so cool. That is such a great thing for this country. I in no means am taken away from the work that Richard does in Cameroon. His work is different. He goes and stays forever, and we just can't send a group of people to go stay in Cameroon for a month. It just isn't feasible. But this trip is just, it's such a great trip for this congregation to support. So let me now tell you about this trip. This is our team for this year. This is on our first day. Look, we look happy. You can tell it's our first real day there. There he is. I was going to say Hy's missing from this picture, but there he is. That's, like I said, that's all of us starting out Friday. This is the group of us Friday. This is in front of the Capitol. That first picture, we're at this place that is a giant map of the country of Guatemala. I'll show you that in just a second. This is in front of the Capitol. This is a tour that we're able to do almost every trip, but almost every trip it's different. I don't understand how that happens, but it turns out to be a little bit different every time. This is us. I don't know when. I guess this is probably Friday too. We spent a lot of time in that tube, in our bus, driving around. The traffic in Guatemala City is ridiculous. But actually, to me, in my opinion, it was a little better this year than years past. But it's just ridiculous. I mean, and the way they drive is probably part of the problem. But anyway, that's us. This is part of our group this is our group that isn't from Linder. And I say that, Hannah just spent last year with us. This is Danny and Hannah Mendoza from Kennewick. Just so you'll know, we're live streaming this, and they're going to watch this later. I think this group. This is Cliff and Owen Sabro. They're from West Visalia, California. Cliff was in Bear Valley a year behind me, so that's kind of a connection we had. They're planning on watching this later. And this right here, this is our solo person from Bear Valley in Denver. So there's all kinds of connections there. We have a connection with Kennewick. We have kind of a family connection even with the Mendozas, and then the connection with Hannah being here. I point right here because that's where she always sat. And then Bear Valley is where Cliff and I went to school, where Hy and Byron went to school, and now Kayla being a part of the group from Bear Valley. It's just such a cool connection. We were in the airport in Houston, or in Denver. That's where we were going to meet Kayla. And I was telling somebody, I said, we need to go over to the gate and see if we see Kayla. And I realized I've never met her. I don't know who I'm looking for. And I'd seen a picture of her on Facebook. So I thought, well, okay, I can kind of identify her. And we're going to go have lunch. And we're walking up to Chick-fil-A at the Denver airport. And this girl turns around and I was like, are you Kayla? She goes, are you Clint? And I was like, so there we go. There's how you meet your mission team at Chick-fil-A. And this is our 13th member of the team there with Hy and Byron. This is our driver. We think his name is Estuardo. We called him Steward, and I heard Danny call him that, and I thought that was a title. Then we thought maybe that's his name. He went from being our driver to finally Friday he was kind of our tour guide. He's walking us around in Antigua, pointing out stuff, and Hy and Byron are kind of like, hey, this is our job. But he was super helpful, very friendly guy. Our 13th team member. This is the maps place. You can't really see that very well, but it's a big area, but it's a topographical map of the country of Guatemala, which was kind of interesting for us to see, to look at the big layout of the country and to see where Coban is and where San Cristobal and where Santa Cruz, these other places where the church at Linda Vista has planted congregations. They even had like, oh, whoops, go back. They even had like little bitty ports along the fake ocean. I thought that was kind of funny. But so that was our first part of our outing. On the first day that we're there, they kind of just show us around the capital area of Guatemala City just to kind of get us used to being there. This us in front of the capital city. There's the big Guatemalan flag. There's a cute kid right there. That's the Capitol. Beautiful building. They're doing some construction or something here on the side. Kind of took away some of the photogenicness of the picture, but still a pretty place. This is the Catholic Cathedral right across, or kind of catty corner from the Capitol building. Been there since the 1500s. Not as it looks right now, but the foundation of it, the main part of it, been there since the 1500s. This is the what'd they call that? It's where they do like big events in the Capitol. Yeah, the National Palace. That's what it's called. In the National Palace itself. That's a beautiful place. It's a very, very interesting tour. Then we went to the market. Now the market is very interesting. It's very much, I mean, there's a lot of touristy stuff, a lot of stuff, buy T-shirts and bags but if you go down a couple levels, you go down to what amounts to the grocery store. The local, the fruit, the fruit that is all laying out looks incredible. In fact, a couple trips ago, Mike Kish and I were down in the market area. We're trying to be complimentary to this young lady. She had these avocados that were huge, but we were tourists. We weren't supposed to be there. You could tell. She was like, "Get out of here with your avocado compliments." And this is just what you think it is. That is fresh cut meat out on a counter. That's what it is. And it's all up and down through there. It's very eye-opening. This is how the market is. If you've ever been to another country, there's just little stalls, little booths everywhere for you to shop. All kinds of this stuff. Lots of that kind of color. That's the background, or the real culture in Guatemala is Mayan. And Benny, you'll see Benny here in a few minutes. He was one of our interpreters. Benny speaks 6 languages, 5 or 6, and one of them is Mayan. I was like, wow. And we talking a little bit about the Mayan culture, and you get outside Guatemala City and you really see the Mayan culture. The Spanish culture really has influenced Guatemala City a whole lot, and from what Hy and Byron say, the Mexican culture has kind of changed the dynamic somewhat in Guatemala City. But you get outside and it's much more Mayan. You see there's a lady right there is in Mayan attire. How they balance those things on their heads, I do not know. Danny shopping. Now Danny, I hope he's watching this. I asked him a couple months before we left, I said, now, do you speak Spanish? And he said, no, not really. We get there and he's almost conversant in Spanish. And I was like, You said you didn't speak. He goes, well, I don't really speak. I know some, but I don't consider myself to speak Spanish. And I was like, so I was like, he was my intern. I was chasing Danny around. Come talk to these people. So he's in the shop. He's in one of the shops, and his theory was tell him 50. I mean, whatever the price is, tell him you give him 50 quetzales for it. And he did some good shopping. I mean, that's the theory. Then Friday night we go to Hiawatha's house. Now I still have to say it's not Hy and Byron's house anymore because Byron is off with his wife in their home. But it's still Hiawatha's house, and he makes dinner for all of us. Now all of us means our team, whoever from the congregation wants to show up. There's been years past where we've had a World English team or two there with us. The preacher students come and eat dinner with us. Hy always makes spaghetti and spaghetti sauce and salad and bread, and just has a big layout for us. It's really a fun time, a good time to get to meet some of the members of the congregation there. This is some of the preacher students. You see there peeking over the top somehow is Annibal. If some of you remember Annibal being here, he's about this big. He's not a very tall person. But this is Guillermo. I don't remember where these guys are from necessarily. They're all from, one of them's from Guatemala. The other two are from where? Maybe, I don't know. Guillermo's from Guatemala. This is Guillermo. This is Seferino. He is, I don't remember where he's from. Panama. And then this is Hugo. And this is Luis, Hugo's little boy. Guatemalan kids are incredibly cute. I don't know what the deal is, but Luis, he was such a cute, and these little bitty kids will come up to you and they don't high five you or give you nothing. They will if you ask them, but they come up and they shake your hands. It's just so cute. But we really got to spend a lot of time around these guys. This kid, this is Kennedy. Now, for those of you who have been before, this is Jonathan and his wife, Onida. And she's not 11, even though she looks like it. But Kennedy, this kid is adorable. He's just such a cute kid. Jonathan is the young man, like I said, some of you if you've been on the trip before, well, if you've been on the trip before, you met Jonathan because he's always been around. Hy and Byron call him their son. Hy especially. He introduces him. This is my son, Jonathan. They brought him in off the streets at 10 years old. He was living back and forth across the road in a Burger King and a McDonald's vestibule. They'd let him stay in just a little entryway, and they'd give him something to eat once in a while. Then he started selling cookies that I think he'd get, the McDonald's people would give him, and he'd go out on the street and try and sell them. And Hy and Byron met him and kind of figured out what the deal was. He didn't like his situation at home. He couldn't get along with his stepdad. And Hy and Byron said, go back home and live for a while. Try and work it out. And if it doesn't work out, let's see what we can do. Well, he went home and he tried and it didn't work out, and he lived with Hy and Byron. And he had kind of a rough stretch in his teen years, late teen years. Now here he is. He's a preaching student at ITL. He's a great kid. Knows just enough English to help out where he can, and just enough English to give you a hard time when he wants to. So he's a great story. I love that kid. Or young man now. He's kind of a grown-up. Then Friday night, after we eat dinner, we sit around in Hiawatha's garage and we sing. And what's so cool is we'll sing a song in English and we'll sing it. And there's usually anywhere from there's been 8 to 20 of us. So we sing our song, and then they'll sing a song in Spanish. And they don't do parts. Every now and then you'll hear somebody doing a different, somebody trying to sing alto or somebody trying to sing tenor. But it's usually everybody singing the melody. And it just peels the paint off the walls. They just belt it out. So I always laugh at us because we try and pick up some of the words, And there's, John McCarthy, when he went on the first trip, John learned the Linus Luchas song. And I don't know what that means, but I know we sing Linus Luchas, Arredondo, the Iglesia Christia Caminando, or something like that. I don't know what that means. It's something about the Church of Christ marches onward. But we kind of figure out some of the lyrics, and we just kind of sing along with it. When we sing our songs, they don't. They like, we're not going to try and sing how you sing, which I don't know. It's always fascinating. But then some songs we'll sing in Spanish and in English. We do that the last night especially. We'll get to that in a minute. But it's so cool. It's so great to sit in there and just sing together and fellowship with each other. There's the other side. You'll notice on the walls the very, the very done by guys decorations. They decided, I didn't know this was happening. We left the 14th. 14th was my birthday. The Friday night, they had a birthday party for me. I decided they don't hate me as much as they act like they do. But let me go back here. Look, I mean, this is Hiawatha decorating. Look, it's like, I'll stick a balloon here, one here, tie one right there. It's like, we're all like, yeah, this is guy decorating. But I had a banner up, said Feliz Cumpleaños for my birthday. I thought it was really cool. There we are, all gathered together. Here we are sitting around talking, going, can we go back to the hotel now? That's about the end of the first night. Then Saturday morning, they give us a little while to kind of get our bearings together Saturday morning, and then they pick us up and take us to lunch at your local Pollo Campero. If you look right back here, right over Art, that's a guard tower. Fast food establishments have guard towers, and there's a guy up there with a sawed-off shotgun or whatever that pistol grip shotgun thing is. And like the nice restaurants have gates and multiple security guards. It's very different. Then this is just a view as we're driving along. That is not the volcano that blew up. You'll see that in a minute. Isn't this Agua? That's either the Agua volcano or the Pacayas, whatever the other one is. Which one is that one? Do you remember? That's Agua. The water volcano that used to have a lake on the top of it till it blew off at one point. So then we get to the building. Oh, this more scenery. These right here, you see these all down this one stretch where there's a beautiful ravine, very scenic, but it's lined with these. These are houses that were put together that were just kind of, well, they're squatters. That's what they call them. After the 1976 earthquake that really, really messed up a lot of the area around Guatemala City, the people from the countryside moved into the city because there were jobs, there was work, there was things to be done. And they just started building houses on the side of this hill. And the government was kind of like, wait, nobody said you could do that. Well, it's too late, so they just let them have it. So on a couple of different sides of this giant ravine, there's just houses that to me look incredibly dangerous. And if there's ever another earthquake there, then I don't know what'll happen, but they just said, all right, keep it. So there's just these communities that have developed along the hillside. This is a mode of public transportation. There's, 14, 15 people in the back of that Datsun Toyota pickup, whatever. Look how low it is to the ground. And that's on a highway. I mean, that's, I don't know. At first you're driving along, you're kind of looking at it, and you're kind of fascinated. And then it's like, I'm just not looking. Eyes forward, I'll not see what happened. Then we get to the building, Saturday at about 2 o'clock. And we began our seminar. Our seminar was that. It's restoration, it's a new commitment was our theme. Excuse me. And we began Saturday with seemed like to me a kind of a lighter crowd, but the crowd grew as the day went. You see right here, of course, there's Hiawatha and Byron. This is Benny, the gentleman I was talking about. The preacher students all sitting over there together, and the congregation there gathering in. They made these to put on the wall, just little posters with a Bible and a cross, and then a ring to kind of signify this relationship that we have with God through Christ is that level of commitment. It's like a marriage, and I thought that was kind of cool. Hi and Byron, Byron translates, Hi talks, and you almost can't tell. I mean, you can tell the difference because of the language, but they work so well together. It's so amazing to me to listen to them work together. Hi would lead some songs, and then we began with Cliff Sabro did our first lesson, and Byron did the translating for Cliff, translated for me. I think he did. No, you had Benny. Yeah. But it's amazing. I mean, I think I mentioned this after one trip in the past, that if I'm over here on this side of the podium and I'm pointing like this as I'm preaching, Byron's over here on this side pointing like this. And it's just like, I mean, I just kind of don't watch. And Byron says, just talk. I mean, I'll keep up with you. You know, pause where you normally pause. You don't have to wait on me. And you don't, man. He just keeps up. It's very, very impressive. But poor planning on my part. I had Cliff go first. Cliff had never taught with a translator, so he was like, "So how does this work?" I was like, "Maybe should have not had the new guy go first." Worked out though. This is Kayla. She's a young lady from Bear Valley. She taught the ladies class. This is Johanna. She's been with us for several times doing translating. I have some information for you all about her in a minute. Then during the class time, I taught men's class. Danny taught the teen class with Benny. Zach was in with Danny to help with the teen class if there was anything that needed to be done. And then our ladies taught the kids. This is Linda, that's Hannah, Michelle, Caitlin. This is Dulce. For those of you who've been before, Dulce is that kid that's not a kid anymore. That's Stephanie. And Dulce and Stephanie are Anibal's daughters. And they've all grown up. They're helpful. I mean, they're doing all the stuff for us now. This is Walter, the guy that's not Walter. That's his daughter. Walter is the guy who is preaching now at Linda Vista, as much as Anibal is. So they were telling us that Linda Vista is probably, as far as they know, the only congregation in Guatemala City in that area with 2 paid ministers. Anibal's support comes mainly from the States. Walter's comes from the congregation, which is that is a huge step. I mean, that's such a big deal. But anyway, that's Yamilet. That's her code name. Her name isn't Yamilet, but that's what we call her. That's what everybody calls her. Her name is what was it? Kira. Whatever. Works for me. More of the kids, they're making stuff in their classroom. This is the younger kids. Linda also got in there. Caitlin and Hannah helping these girls out or the girls and boys with their work in class. And then after we're finished with we did a everybody together session. Then we did a class session with the men, the women, and the kids. And then we did another session with everybody but the kids. The kids stayed together. And then after all that, then they feed everybody. They fed us all. For those of you who went on the first trip, you guys will remember that when we had those meals with the congregation, Hawatha's job was to stand behind the potluck table and go, "Don't eat that. That's okay. Don't eat that one. Skip that one." That does not happen anymore. It's whatever they make, eat it because it's good. This one was different. This meal that night was like a meatloaf thing with a hard-boiled egg in the middle. Yeah, it was a Guatemalan meal. It was good. It was different, but it was good. So and there's always that with tortillas and rice. I'm not a big tortilla fan here, but I ate like 74 of them while we were there. I don't know what it is. But so we all sit and share a meal together, which is a really, really fun thing to do. Excuse me. Then Sunday morning, we get together Sunday morning and we coordinate how we're going to do worship service. For their Sunday morning worship services, they don't translate any of the prayers, the Lord's Supper, or even the song service. We do it in English and we do it in Spanish. So this is us all circled up out in the entryway, figuring out the plan for worship. Danny Mendoza led singing, did a great job leading singing. I can't remember this guy's name that was with him. I guess Saturday, that's Sunday. Saturday, Carlos Ramos, for those of you who have been before, Carlos is Francisco and Ermina's youngest son, I believe. And Abner, his older brother, is the one we support now in Las Pacayas. But Carlos is still around, still faithful, leading singing. That's so encouraging to see. Then Art taught the Sunday morning class. I have to tell this story with Art's class. Art had a great class prepared. Talked to Benny. Benny's a sharp guy. Like I said, knows 6 languages. Excuse me. Art had a cool illustration. He was going to talk about our commitment. He was going to talk about how our influence is shown in our commitment, and how our commitment is also shown how we influence, how it impacts how we influence. Had a great illustration about radium, right? I heard him ask Benny before class. Now this radium illustration, that's people get, oh yeah, it's a we understand, we know what radium is. Everybody gets that. Very clear, total understanding on both parties. Art's in the middle of his class, has a great class, great examples, everything's going really well. And he gets to the radium point, and he says, or the illustration, it says this guy came in this federal building and he had a 1/16 of a gram or something in a vial of radium. And you see Benny go, and Art goes, radium. He had radium. And Benny was like, it's like, what? And even in the translation, I could understand. Benny said something like, oh, radium is some kind of chemical. It was like, you just ruined the whole illustration. Art kept going, stayed the course, made it through there. It was just like, you can see Benny goes, radium? I've never even heard this word before. Anyway, that's how it goes. Then again, Danny taught the high school class. The ladies again had the kids. The teen class, Saturday, Sunday both, we had somewhere between 15 and 20, which is really, really good. Good numbers to see. And by the way, this was just for the Linda Vista congregation. We did have Sunday, well, I guess both days, we had some visitors, but this wasn't something that they sent out for everybody. They have done that before, and we've had a house full of people. But this was just for the Linda Vista congregation, and we still had a good crowd and several visitors. There's kids working on something there. More of classes being taught. Oh, okay. This is Danny leading singing there with Carlos. That's like I said, some of you, if you didn't know the name, you might recognize the face. It's very encouraging to see that. I keep wanting to say kid. See that kid? He's like 26 now or whatever. But he's still hanging in there. I think that's very cool. Then we have the sermon, and then we have the Lord's Supper at the end. Zach and David were involved in passing the elements of the Lord's Supper. And then Owen, this is Owen, Cliff's son. Owen was 13, almost 14. Owen said the closing prayer. So everybody was involved. Everybody from our team that could, we were all involved in some facet of teaching or serving in some way, that's part of the plan. When a team comes, we try and plug everybody in to do something as part of the service. Then Sunday after services, we go to, it's the Ramos home, but now they call it the Garcia Ramos home because all the Ramoses have almost moved away. But it's the same family home that you guys who have been before, the same place that we've been. It's kind of out in the country kind of area, and they just lay out a meal for us. It's obviously, it's a very different place than we're used to. But they're super sweet. They take care of us. They feed us well. For those of you who've been before, you'll remember Maclovio and his wife Vicky. We don't know who this kid is. We think it's probably their grandson. I never really got anyway who that kid was for sure. Just another cute kid running around. There was one, a son of the people of the guy who's considered the owner of the house now, the Garcias, Brandon, who was walking up to the table and was talking to us in Spanish, and we were going, we don't get it. We don't know what you're saying. And it was just driving him nuts because he just kept talking. He was like, come on, you people catch up. So then he decided we're not going to communicate. So he decided instead of speaking Spanish to us, he was just going to give us gifts. So he went walking around the yard and just picked stuff up. David had, what'd you have? Yeah, the little band that comes off a milk carton. Hannah, I don't know what the deal is with Hannah. Hannah got 2 marbles and a beast. They gave her this little thing. We don't know if it was a seed or if it was a animal shell hole or what it was, but he called it a beast. So she got a beast and 2 marbles. Caitlin got a flower, so we had Beauty and the Beast with the flower and the... Zach, what was yours? Wrapper? Oh yeah, a broken Christmas ornament. And I got that thing that we're not exactly sure what it was, but that was my gift. I took a picture and left it there. And then it started raining, we had to take all the chairs back. That's the ITL bus right there. They had to put all the chairs back on top of that. They would not let us help once it started raining. They were like, get away, we're doing this. And Walter got soaked. That is, again, just kind of the scenery around where we are. This is our bus right here. Then we made our way to the hotel. The hotel is in the southern part of the city. This is the fire volcano. This is debris from the fire volcano. Now, I know that seems really stupid, but it was so cool. I mean, there was like places where they'd point out cracks in the ground. That black dirt, that's not black dirt, it's volcano ash. Then on Friday, we went to the coffee plantation. They had piles of it. So Danny loaded up a Ziploc bag full of it and then got in trouble at the airport. But anyway, so we kind of distributed some volcanic ash to everybody. So that's up here if the 9-year-old inside you wants to come see the volcanic ash, I've got it up here. But that was really cool. It was weird to see that. It was putting out a lot of smoke. You know, we've seen it smoke before, but that was a lot. This is our visit to the hospital. You'll notice everybody has these bags. We take in bags of care package stuff. It's toilet paper and bottles of water and toothbrushes and toothpaste, stuff that the hospital doesn't provide for them. So we take that to them, or people wouldn't have it. This is us coming into the hospital, carrying our bags. We went first to the pediatric ward, the children's ward. We were able to visit the maternity ward, and then we split up. The ladies go to the women's ward, and the men go to the men's ward. These are these little kids in the hospital. Didn't see a parent anywhere. I don't know if I have a picture or not of the kid, but there's one little boy who broke his arm that morning. His parents dropped him off at the hospital. I mean, it's just different. And we'd go over and kind of try and talk to them. We'd say prayers with them, and very gracious, very, very gracious reception. The kids kind of look at us like, what are you doing? This young lady right here, it was her birthday. So we sang happy birthday to her and gave her some stuff. And actually, we all just kind of stand around and sing, and it's so unusual from what we're used to. That's a couple little boys that I visited with a little bit. This lady right here is one of several women in the maternity ward who have brand new babies with them in their bed and just nothing. I was talking with Art about you, Vicki. Sorry, I saw you shaking your head. Any of you who are in the nursing profession, like when Linda, when the Welches went, this makes you cringe because it's just not how it's supposed to happen. I mean, newborn babies laying on bed. I saw one lady had a newborn that was born earlier that morning, laying in her arm, and she's asleep. It's like, shouldn't somebody be watching what's going on? It's just different. This lady has a newborn baby, and she's sitting there eating a sandwich on her bed. You know, it's just how it is. That's a group of our ladies there. Then, fast forward to, now we're at Monday morning. We're beginning the work project. We are at ITL. This is the ITL flag that they designed, which I thought was very proud of that one to show us that. Our work project was to repaint the school, put a drywall wall up where they just had a garage door in the past. So Huatha gave us a tour of the school. Very, very neat, very tidy, and he even told us, you guys are going to see you got a whole family living in one room. You got Jonathan and his wife and their little boy living in one room. And he almost kind of said, but remember, this is a different stand. I thought the rooms were really cool. One of these rooms, I'd have killed to have that as my dorm room in college. They're very nice, very well taken care of, very clean. And the work begins. And we're roller painting everywhere, detail painting all over the place, much paint. This is Lorena, who's the cook for the school. When she came to work there, she was not a Christian. Now she is a Christian, her husband is a Christian, and their daughter is a Christian. Because she had that influence of the school. Danny and Caitlin working on these are doors right here that would not hold paint no matter what you did. Climbing on ladders, climbing on the roof, just painting all over the place. But we're interacting with the students this whole time. We're interacting with the staff there at the school. And it was really a good work project. It was very painty smell, a lot of turpentines. We did have these masks that we wore. Kayla, first day had kind of a reaction to the paint, but she got over that and pushed forward, and everybody kept working. I don't know where they are right there, but this is one of my favorite pictures. I went up on the roof because I was trying to figure out how to paint this wall down, this wall that would be right here under this thing. And I thought, well, I can do it with a roller, I can do this. Then somebody had the brilliant idea, just go up on the roof and lay down. And I thought that was a great idea until I walked up to the edge. And I was like, so that little spot smiley face, that's Caitlin way down on the ground there. But it worked out. I mean, I didn't do some of the things I saw. You might see, I don't know if I have a picture or not, of guys climbing between the buildings to paint. This is the wall the guys are putting in right here. Painting in front. And the school it looked nice when we got there. It's beautiful. I mean, it's all cleaned up. It looks great. That's Art up on top there. I'm cleaning up down here. The guy's building the wall. Everybody's kind of doing whatever needs to be done the whole time. David is giving moral support here as there's a ceiling fan that Danny and I may or may not have broken. We put it back together, sort of. We put it back together, then tried to fix it, and it wouldn't work at all. So I don't know. And Danny's an electrical engineer, so I was just the assistant. I said, this ladder right here, this was a source of great controversy. I can't tell you the whole story, but according to Walter, he saw fear in Danny's eyes on the ladder and became a debate for the next 4 days. But like I said, everybody working at different places, different times, getting out there. I am on the roof. These guys just walking along the edge painting. It's like, okay, there's fear in my eye. I'm not doing that. I'll lay down on the roof, but I won't do that. And then the paint fumes kind of start to get to you. That's Cliff. He'll probably resent that because he had no say in whether I'd show it or not. But this is David. He's one of us, so we have to show that. And this just a couple other shots. This is the ladies preparing our food. This is the ceiling fan incident. And this, we used the old banners for our drop cloths. That's the banner from our first trip in 2008. I was like, hey, thought you guys would save that. But they did, but they saved it to paint on it. And every day at lunch, they'd feed us. The food, they'd make us great meals, feed us all, take care of us. And then when we're finished eating, they'd come get your plate and tell you thanks. And it's like, okay. But just very, very good to us, really take care of us in so many different ways. This is the entire team at the work project. Like I said, there's some of the preacher students working with us, the kitchen staff. I don't see the secretary lady. I don't see her in the picture. This is our boss. He's not a Christian. Oh, and I just noticed there's the driver, and he's everywhere. He's in every picture somehow. I had no idea he was even in the picture till right now. But anyway, so that's the work we did. This is the garage floor. The house this is the house they bought. I don't have time to tell you the whole story for that. I'm already done. But that's the garage floor. So I mean, there's so much involved in God working in amazing ways for them to buy this, turn it into the school. Then Wednesday night we go back, we taught class. Again, the ladies taught the kids. Cliff taught the adult class. Kids just eat it up, man. They're so excited to be able to do the stuff that Michelle brought some activities for them to do. The girls all helped them with all their stuff. And then there's kind of the going away, or at least for Wednesday night. This is Stephanie. This is one of that's Annie Ball's youngest daughter. Who, those of you who went on the first trip, she was literally a toddler. It's bizarre. This is Walter. He's probably saying something mean about me right there. This again is Luis. He's just an adorable little kid. Then Thursday we went on our visits. I'll click through these as fast as I can. This is at one of the sisters' homes. It's this lady right here next to Linda. It's her house. Very different conditions than we are used to. But she had a great heart. Her prayer request was she wanted her children to be restored. She wanted them to find their faith again. She got emotional, very, very touching, just a sweet lady. This is our middle visit. I want to show this. This is Erlinda is her name. She's not working with us at all, but she's wearing her T-shirt. We thought that was kind of cool. Hyde knocks on her door. Her house was beautiful. She had her house very well taken care of. David led us in a couple of songs, and then this is Owen. Owen did our devotional thought. We did a devotional thought at each house. Owen and David handled that house, which I thought was very cool. Then again, just some shots. Danny did the devotional thought at that house. Then we're just walking through this. Just kind of gives you a picture of the streets. There's cinder block houses every now and then there's a tin walled house. It's kind of just here and there. Then Thursday night was our going away, and it's like they intentionally come up with games to humiliate us. But we played this game. I still have no idea what the point of that game was. I just did whatever Linda said to do. And then this one, they had us put a cookie on our foreheads, and you had to move your face to make it come down into your mouth. And look, it looks like Danny and Cliff are in some sort of trance. Sorry, I should have warned you. Linda, I don't know. This is another game. You had to carry a quetzal, which is about the size of a 50-cent piece, between your knees, and then get down and put it in this, and drop it into a styrofoam cup. But it's fun. I mean, see, this is what you end up looking like. Zach, that looks like Zach's is stuck to his head or something right there. Now, this guy, this is Marco. This is Johanna's husband. He lived in Georgia for a while. Speaks perfect English. Here's what I just found. I got a text while we were sitting over there as services started. A text from Cliff Sabro, and a text that was Cliff and Danny and I had a group text. He was baptized today. That's goosebumpy. He obeyed the gospel today. That's very cool. That's us sitting there. So we'd play the games and look like idiots, and then they at least feed us. They put out a great meal, give us all kinds of different stuff. Again, it's the same kind of deal. The same ladies make it. There's all kinds of different stuff. Just eat it all because it's all good. And then they give us awards. They gave us this little puzzle thing that I just broke. Gave us a little puzzle thing and put our names on the back of it. Mine is a quetzal, the national bird, or it used to be. Anyway, and then a lot of you have probably seen these inside my office. They give us little medals just to show us appreciation for the work that we do, for being there. Go back. That's all the non-Linder people getting their awards or their gifts. This is all of us. It's so sweet. And we say it every year. We tell them every year. We come there. The point is for us, the people from America, to come bless them. They bless us. I mean, it's without a doubt. It is such a blessing to be able to be with them. And then we all stand around and we sing together. And we sing the same song in the different languages. And it's just incredible. It's so cool to be a part of. And for those of you who went on our last trip, this is the Maldonado family. That's Jose Manuel, Jose Carlos. That's Sylvia, Gabby, who hated me, and Dulce. That's family. We worked at their house last time. Sylvia hadn't been to worship since 2 weeks after we were there last time. And she came Saturday, Sunday, and Thursday. Wednesday and Thursday. So, Jose Carlos and Blake got to be buddies when Blake went the first time. And I've stayed in touch with him through Facebook ever since. And we talked, we said, let's make sure we keep Sylvia faithful. So that's something to pray about for that family. The mom isn't faithful. That was part of the deal. That's why we kind of did the service project at their house last time, to show the mom that we really care about them. But they just can't get her to be faithful. Just kind of our saying goodbyes now as we wrap up the time with the congregation there. Friday we go to Antigua, do some sightseeing. Beautiful, beautiful, amazing city. This is a beautiful restaurant there in Antigua, ancient city, beautiful restaurant facility. If you'll recall, 2 or 3 trips ago, Mike Kish and I had at a similar restaurant, had an encounter. I showed you the picture. Then we tried to talk to a guy sitting on a bench. We want to be evangelistic. So our kids now are keeping up the same tradition. That's a McDonald's in Antigua. It's the most beautiful McDonald's you will ever see. It's gorgeous. But so Mike and I have passed the baton on to our kids, see if they can convert Ronaldo, whatever his name would be. This is just, we're walking around, finishing up the time in Antigua. This is a balcony on the old Capitol building. We stood up there and sang about 4 songs. It was incredible. I mean, not because it was just incredible sounding, because the acoustics. People up there visiting, doing sightseeing tours, stopped and stood around and listened, clapped when we finished. Then we went down into a stairwell that had even better acoustics. I got a little recording of that on my phone, but it's not great. Snejana was recording with her camera, but we weren't able to get those. When I get those, maybe I can show you that. It was unbelievable. It was goosebump big time. It was so neat. It's an amazing city. It's an amazing trip. It's a different culture. I mean, we all understand that. We understand how different it can be. But it's a country that is completely, I won't say complete. It's a country that's dealing with corruption in the government levels, in everything. There's a little core of the city that you can tell is well off, and everything else is, as Benny tried to explain to us, he called it a third country. He's trying to tell us, it's a third world country. It really is, and it wouldn't have to be. But there's corruption, there's other issues. But it's a country just like Paul, the Macedonian. It's a country that needs the gospel. And it's a country that is willing to listen. The people receive you well. And they're beautiful people. They're people who are excited. I mean, almost to a person. They were saying, "Are you going to come back in 2 years? Are you coming back in 2 years?" And they plan on it. They're excited that we take time to come. And they act like it's such an imposition for us. I mean, several people said, "I'm sure you can't wait to get back to your home and to your family." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I am." But what a blessing you all are to us. And they don't even seem to get that. They're like, "How can we be a blessing to you?" And it's like, look at you. I mean, you're just such great hearts. And they're trying so hard against some pretty challenging odds. But then, it's time to come home. And you pray the best for them. And that's my encouragement to you is remember this work. I mean, the reason I gave you all the numbers of all the people who have come, we're connected to this work. This isn't just a mission field in our bulletin. These are people we know. I mean, a lot of us have met these people. Remember these people. Remember the work that they're doing. Paul tells the church in Colossae, and we'll wrap up. Sorry, I've kept you long. Colossians 4 says, verse 2, continue steadfastly in prayer, being watchful in it with thanksgiving. At the same time, pray also for us that God may open to us a door for the word. Doors are opening in Guatemala because of the work that's being done there, that we're such a part of. Pray for the doors to be opened, that I may make it clear, verse 4, which is how I ought to speak. Walk in wisdom toward outsiders, making the best use of time. Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person. We as a team were outsiders when we were there. But when we get there, when we get around the Linda Vista congregation, we're not outsiders anymore. We're family. And it's so cool that this family is so connected to that family. And why are we a family? Not because we can make a trip down there and spend a week with them, spend 10 days with them. It's not because we can work on stuff. That's all part of it. But we're family because of Jesus. We're family because we have a connection that goes beyond language, it goes beyond culture, it goes beyond everything, because it's a connection with God through the blood of Jesus Christ. So the invitation for you tonight is if you need to make that connection, not with a people in a different country, but a connection with Jesus, do that tonight. If, as a Christian, you feel like there's something you need to clear up between you and Jesus to keep that connection, let's do that. Whatever it is that we can do for you, whatever this congregation can do for you to help you in your walk with Christ, here. I mean, there's work to be done everywhere. You know, in a few months or a year, I guess, Richard will be showing pictures of his work again in Cameroon. There's work to be done everywhere. But it has to start with us right here, with us in our own hearts and our own lives. If there's something you need to do for you that will help you in your walk with Christ, let's do that tonight while we stand together and sing.